Legislation stripping treaty provisions from the Oranga Tamariki Act has passed its third and final reading in Parliament following a very heated debate. The Coalition has long promised to repeal Section 7AA, which binds Oranga Tamariki to the Treaty of Waitangi's principles and requires it to work in partnership with iwi and hapu, reporting back regularly on how that is going. Minister for Children Karen Chhour said while the section was well intended, it had created confusion and in some cases put vulnerable children at risk. She said the focus must be on the child's safety above all and made no apology for pushing the bill through. Opposition parties strongly disagreed. Labour's Willagene Prime said the move was driven by political ideology, not evidence, and could harm Māori children in care. The Greens called the bill a dog whistle that ignores the harm done to Māori historically, while Te Pāti Māori described the repeal as a direct attack on Māori cultural safety and condemned it as a repeat of colonial injustices. We've heard that a lot today, haven't we? The new C word, colonial. Despite fierce opposition, the bill passed 68 to 54 in support from the coalition government. And the Minister for Children, Karen Chhour, joins me now. Karen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Leah.
Look, firstly, congrats on the bill passing. I know you've worked very, very hard on this. You've said Section 7AA was well intended but caused confusion at the very least. Can you give us some examples, specific examples of how it could put a child at risk?
So there were a couple of cases that became public that I can speak to, and one of them was a case with a young girl called Moana, who had been placed in what we call forever home, and then was removed. Only reason was because they finally found a whakapapa connection. And so, is this really the best thing to do for young people when they're settled, they've got certainty, they've got clarity around where they're living, and then uplifting them all over again and putting them through that stress? If we are going to find whakapapa connections, I think it's really important. But stability, security, and a loving home is the most important thing we should be thinking about. And these children have been through enough. We need to make sure that when we're making decisions around placements and around the care of our young people, that we're looking at their safety and their well-being first. This has nothing to do about getting rid of whakapapa connections. This is about making sure that when we're making decisions, that they are the right decisions based on safety.
And Karen, just to make this clear for everybody listening, so you mentioned Moana, her forever home, that was a non-Māori home, correct? She was with Pākehā?
Yes.
And then they found, when you say whakapapa, they found her relatives and who were Māori, and so she was removed to go and be with them, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And then there was another case in Hastings, I think it was, where there were 4 young children that were in forever home, and whānau was found. And I have nothing against the whānau that was found. I think nobody won in that situation. I think it was terrible for everybody involved. But if we're going to make these decisions, we have to have the child at the centre of those decisions and make sure that we're not creating more stress and trauma in their lives than what they've already been put through in the first place.
Oranga Tamariki itself has reportedly said that there's no empirical evidence that 7AA led to poor care decisions. That was brought up. What do you make of that?
So I wouldn't expect them to have documented evidence on 7AA. 7AA was used in most decision making when it came to our children, and I don't expect them to be ticking a box to say, oh, we uplifted this young person because of 7AA in every circumstance. So I didn't expect there to be like a trail of evidence of we made this decision specifically on 7AA. But what I can tell you is I know people personally that have been affected by this too. I've also heard from social workers, police officers and frontline staff who have said that often this section of the Act stops people making a decision and they start to second guess themselves around their decision making because of 7AA. So I just want some clarity that safety and wellbeing comes first, and having family and whānau connections is important, but first of all we have to make sure that these young people are safe.
Labor's Willowgene Prime, Karen, made some pretty outrageous accusations saying, let the history books show these tamariki could be the subject of a future Royal Commission into abuse in state care. What do you say to that?
Oh, look, I mean, it's the opposition's job to oppose when they feel like they don't agree with something. I think sometimes we have to be careful when we're making decisions, not to make decisions based on emotion, but to make decisions based on what we know is the right thing to be doing. I don't like uplifting children. I think the thought of uplifting a child is horrific. But if it's necessary to keep that young person safe and it's the right thing to do, then that's the decision we have to make. And unfortunately, I think Oranga Tamariki is in a position as they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. Often when a young person gets hurt, the question is, why didn't Oranga Tamariki come in and intervene? And then we have the other side of when Oranga Tamariki does intervene, why are you stealing our children? So I think we just need to be perfectly clear here. Oranga Tamariki is the last line of defence for children who have been hurt and harmed by those who are supposed to care for them. And we're coming in and making sure that we're picking up the pieces and that those young people are safe and in a better situation than they were before they came to us.
Karen, you've said the bill doesn't negate the importance of cultural connections for children. Will cultural needs still be considered even without the legal requirements to partner with iwi and hapu?
Absolutely, and actually that section was raised quite a lot during the select committee process, how people were concerned if that was removed, that those partnership and enabling community programs wouldn't continue. So I took that on board and I accepted the recommendation that that section would stay within the Act. It would just be placed in a different section. So that section is still there, same wording, exactly the same as it was. It's just been placed in another part of the section of the Act under the Chief Executive's obligations.
Right. Te Pāti Māori, Karen, as you know, is now urging the Governor-General not to give the bill royal assent, calling it a breach of Te Tiriti o Te Waitangi. Does that surprise you? And what can happen?
Oh, I mean, that would be something that would be pretty unprecedented if that happened. When we do the speech from the throne, when we first come into government, we give the Governor-General an update on what we're going to do, and this was part of that update. It was part of the coalition agreement. It's been well known. It's not something that just snuck up on them, and I just think there's a process that gets followed in this place, and yes, they're entitled to ask for certain things. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. What I would say, though, is this is not the first time I brought this bill to this House. I brought this bill when I was in opposition because I feel so strongly about it.